Hello, hello, hello everyone. It's Teresa from Teresa's Spot for Art, where I love helping you create a little joy in your life through some fun, simple, and quick art projects. So we are going to get started. I'm going to turn my camera around. I have out, a couple of greens. And I'm going to put out some blue. And I need some fresh white. I have sketched on just the basics of some clay pots and a basket. Let me put my white over here. I'm going to get about a 1/2 inch flat brush that I have here. And I'm just going to start working on the backgrounds. These up here, these are my flowers and my bird for April. What was that one called? Thistle, bluebell, and that one I forget, and the goldfinch. But they are also up on my YouTube channel. You can go check them out. How to paint flowers in 5 minutes. The videos are 5 minutes, but it might take you a little bit more practice than that. Okay. I am dipping in some light blue and some white paint. And I'm just filling in across the top. I'm going to go over my basket handles a little bit because my handles will be darker. I'm not worrying about being perfect. I'm just getting the paint where it needs to be. And right now I'm just doing the blue and the white and filling in the background and getting our sky done in. I think I'm going to pick up, I don't have my plastic thing. I'm going to pick up this piece of cardboard and I'm going to slide it in here. I'll have to keep moving it around so I don't get paint on the rest of my pages, because that will cause my art book pages to stick together. Okay, so a little messy. I'm not worried about being too perfect there. And there we go. Okay, I'm going to wash my brush. Now this is just the background colors. This is just us color blocking in as we build our painting from the bottom up. And when I say bottom, I mean background to foreground. We work on fine-tuning our art and getting in more details. And that's why basically a lot of times the background doesn't, of course it matters. But if there's mistakes, errors, overpainting, then it doesn't really matter, because that is all the stuff that you're going to fix when we start painting and everything else. So now I'm just picking up some light green and some dark green. And I want to get a nice background color for the ground done here. Move my cardboard a little bit. This way I can come out here to this side. And again, I'm using 2 values of paint, the light and the dark. And I'm just filling this in for now. And this is just making some coverage on our canvas. This has really nothing to do with what our painting is going to look like in the end. We just want to get everything covered. I'm going to come in here, I'm going to add a little bit of that in there, my green background, and then maybe I came a little bit far down with my blue here, so I'm going to go over that part. Okay, and I'm going to wash my brush. So now we basically have our sky, our grass, and I'm going to put out a little bit of, this is raw sienna and burnt sienna, so we can start painting in our pots. Actually, raw sienna and burnt umber, so we can start painting in our pots. Got a little bit of a dark brown. I need a little bit of a rust color too here. Let me see. This one, burnt sienna. Raw sienna, burnt sienna. I'm going to cut this so I don't have to keep moving it. I'm going to put a piece over there and a piece over here. Now my edges are protected. And I'm also going to put out a little bit of this burnt sienna. So I have raw sienna, burnt sienna, and some burnt umber. I don't need a lot of the burnt umber. I'm going to rinse my brush. Okay. I'm going to load up here with this burnt sienna. I'm going to come over here and dip a corner in my light color. And I'm going to start painting in this clay pot to the back. Now here's where it matters that we have straight lines, that we have the right coverage. I am going to paint each pot separate. I want the neck on my pot to be a little bit darker than the rest of my pot. So I have the burnt sienna up top, and then I fill in with the raw sienna for the rest of the pot. I'm going to pick a little bit of black on my dirty brush, and I'm going to come in here and I'm going to fill in the top of the pot. Now this is going to have flowers in it, so we do want it a little bit darker, but a lot of it is going to be covered. So we have our burnt, we have a tiny bit of black, and we're painting it in here. Okay? Then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to get the burnt and the lighter color. And now we're going to do this pot. I'm having all my brush strokes go horizontal. I have the two colors on my brush. And when I paint in these pots, I'm having a little bit of a dip to my stroke, so it'll appear that the pots are a little bit rounded. Okay, then I'm going to pick up a little bit of this dark and burnt, and we're going to come in here and we're going to paint in the band around the top of the pot. And again, this pot is probably going to have some florals in it as well. And we're just trying to differentiate between the top of the pot, the inside of the pot, and the entire pot hanging down. Okay, and again, I'm going to mix a little bit of black, and we're going to come in here the inside of our pot up here is darker, and it has a little bit of an oval shape to it. Okay, still not cleaning my brush, picking up some of this light color, and I'm going to paint in this little roundish pot that we have on the bottom. And now my lines are going vertically, but again, I'm putting a little bit of a curve to them. I'm going to use this paint that I have on here, and I'm just going to go and do this pot now. A lot of variety and values of the brown and the burnt umber and the burnt sienna going on. Pick up a little bit more of the burnt umber. Okay, and then I'm going to make it a little bit darker and fill in the inside of this pot that's laying on the ground. Okay. We have all of our base coating in of our pots. Now I need to switch brushes. So I'm going to go to a medium round brush, go to my dark brown, and I'm going to fill in the top part of this one. This has a little bit different shape to it. Pick up some black and fill in the top there. I also want to fill this in a little bit nicer with my round brush. I'm just using the burnt sienna mixed with a little bit of black and making the inside of these pots a little bit darker. But like I said, they're gonna have plants in them, so we're not gonna worry about it. Okay. Now I want to switch to a little bit smaller brush. This one's too small, I think. What is this? 12 and a 10. Yeah, I'm gonna go to the 12. Don't forget, brush sizes are not the same from manufacturer to manufacturer. So what is a 12 in one brand brush is not necessarily a 12 in another brand brush. So I basically try and just go by like 1 inch, 3/4 inch, ½ inch wide, medium round, like that. Okay, I'm going to put out a little bit of fawn, and I'm going to show you how we're going to do our basket. All right. I'm going to mix fawn and white, and I'm just going to come in here and I'm going to start filling in our basket. Fawn, white, and fill in our basket. I'm going to come around the pot, fawn and white. This green here may end up getting covered up too, depending on how much foliage or florals we put in here. But for now, I just have it there as a space holder. We don't want any white on our canvas. And I'm just painting in. I'm picking up fawn and white, and I'm painting in horizontal strokes and just base coating in my basket. Okay, there we go. All right, need a little bit more brown. Okay, without washing my brush, I'm going to come over here, I'm going to pick up dark brown and fawn, and I'm going to put a little bit of pressure on my brush so I make sure I have both of these colors on here, dark brown and fawn. And I'm going to come back up to my basket. I think I'll put the dark on the top. And I'm going to start putting in these little U-strokes. Fawn, tan. The fawn tan and the dark brown. And I'm going all the way across. Okay. Now I'm going to start inside a little bit. So we don't want our basket to line up totally. And now the second row is going in between. And I'm just continuing across with my weave. Now I can go in here and add this in here, because that's a partial. Okay, and then we're going to go back to the beginning just like we did in our first step. I'm always picking up the fawn and the dark brown. I'm putting the dark brown to the top, and I'm just making these little U strokes. I'm going to be careful when we get to our pots. Just fill in. It's okay if it's not perfect. It's a basket weave. The important thing is every other row starts differently. So you want to always be staggering the lines. And we're going to highlight them a little bit too. So I'll show you how we're going to do that. This way we don't have our basket weave going directly down our piece of art. Make littler ones on the side. Just want to put a little bit more dark in there. Oh, that one I did upside down. Look at that. So I'm going to come back in here. I'm going to fix it. I did my tan to the top instead of my dark. I knew something was wrong there. And I'm just going to fill in the bottom here. Okay? And then with my dirty brush that has both colors on it, I'm just going to come up here and fill in the top. Okay? And again, with my dirty brush, I'm going to come here. I'm going to follow the handle up. I'm going to get really skinny at the top. And then I'm going to follow the handle back down. Both colors on my brush. Following the handle up. Getting skinny towards the top. And then back down. Okay. I'm going to wash my brush. I'm going to get my liner brush out and do a little detail on our basket. I'm going to pick up some white. And I'm going to add a little bit of highlight to some of the joints, weave, whatever we want to call it, on our basket. Doesn't have to be every one of them. We're just making the illusion we had this weave going in our basket. And then I'm going to do the same thing across the top. Just these little tiny strokes across the top of the basket and then down. Okay, so there we have our hand woven basket. We have all our pots base coated in, and I'm going to switch to my medium brush. I'm going to get some dark brown here, and I'm going to do a little bit of shading to one side of the pot on all of them, and underneath like the rim of the clay pot. So I'm just using my little liner brush, my medium round brush, and shading in a little bit like that. Do the same thing up here. Little on this side too. Pull it across. A little to the side here, and because this one's on its side, I'm pulling it outwards a little bit and down. Put a little bit more up here and pull it across. This is obviously my shaded side, so this side is going to have more shade than the other side. Okay, I'm going to wash my brush. And then you can stick with your little liner brush or the little round brush, whatever you want to do. And I'm going to go into my greens. I'm going to pick my dark green first. I'm twirling my brush between my thumb and my forefinger. And I'm going to start adding in some grass. This way we're setting our clay pots in. They're laying in the grass. Somebody was doing some potting and left them there. I'm just flicking all different ways, all different thicknesses. We're going to go back and we're going to add different colors too here as well. But for now I'm going to start with the dark And I'm just flicking in these little blades of grass. And this is setting our pots back in the ground. If your paint gets to be too thick, your lines get to be too thick, you can come over, can wipe off your brush, twirl it again, get rid of that paint buildup. You don't have to go into the water. We'll just get your brush cleaned up. And now with the dirty brush, I'm just going to go right into the light green. And I'm going to work my way back with the light green. You can make this as full, thin, or wispy as you want. You can make it all dark, all light. I like the mix. I like when the colors blend. And when you get to this part, some of them are a little lighter because this side of my painting has dried already. So then the light really pops on that side. Okay? And then I'm going to wash my brush. Right, now the first thing I want to do, I'm going to put some daisies up here in this basket. I'm going to clean my little round brush, get it nice and dried off. I'm going to go into, let me put out some more yellow. I'm going to put out some marigold. And I'm just going to now mark where I want my daisies to be. So these are theoretically going to be the center of my flowers. And I'm just placing them where I want. I'm going to wipe off my brush. I'm going to go right into the white paint now. I'm going to start painting in my daisies. The first few are going to be a little bit more yellow because I used a dirty brush, and they're going to get whiter as we go along. And I'm just pulling in all these brush strokes, my white paint, overlapping and pulling them together. If you need to, you can do your daisy like a clock. 12, 6, 9, 3, and then 1, 2, 4, 5, 7, 8, 10, 11. Totally up to you. All of my strokes are working their way into the center. This one I'm just doing some bottom strokes. We're going to make that a little bud down there. I'm picking up white and I'm working my way in to the center of the flower every time. And we're layering and we're going over our basket. And then this one down here, and we're almost done. So each time, I guess I pick up paint about every third petal. I'm pulling in and then lifting my brush up, pulling in towards the center and then lifting my brush up. Okay? And we're gonna let those dry a little bit. I'm gonna wash my brush. I move around, so while one part of my painting is drying, I can work on another part, and vice versa. Now I'm gonna put out, let me see. Royal Fuchsia, Dragon Fruit, I think Wild Berry. I have this plum, I might not use it, we'll see it. But right now I'm gonna put out this Wild Berry over here. Little soft pink, It's not as bright as the fuchsia. It's a little bit more muted. And I like the way it goes with the yellow ochre better than the fuchsia. Wash my brush. I'm going to get my wild berry. And I'm going to start base coating in some of these flowers in this big pot up here. We're pretty much blobbing them in. Uneven circles. Okay, now on the same brush, I'm going to pick up a little bit of white and start adding in some white. I'll have to get fresh white out later. That's what usually happens. I usually end up putting out fresh white for like the end of my project, because by the time I get to the end, I've pretty much contaminated my white. Okay. I'm going to leave them like that for now. I'm going to wash my brush. Okay. Now I'm going to load my brush with this beautiful, I think it's Juneberry, this purple I have over here, and this marigold color. So purple and marigold, both on my brush at the same time. I'm double loading. I'm putting a little bit of pressure on my brush, and I have both colors on my brush. And I'm going to do some little 5-petal flowers down here. These are like little gingerbreads. They have a head, 2 arms, and a leg, and I'm going to show you. So head, arm, leg, leg. Pick up some more paint. Head, arm, leg, leg. And then we can do a couple of buds if we want. Off to the side. Okay, and again, I'm going to wash my brush. Now these flowers, these 5-petal flowers, they need stems. They're coming from out of the ground. So I'm going to put a little bit of the leaf, the acrylic here, and then pull them to the ground. And these are just going to get their own stem. And then this one. And then we can put a few little leaves on the branches or the stems. I'm using my brush, I'm pushing it away. I'm starting right on the stem, and then as I pull up, I'm making the leaf a little bit thinner as I pull it off, as I pull my brush off the canvas or the surface. Maybe we'll do one more here. I'm gonna have this one off to the side a little bit. So I'm going back to my purple and my marigold. There we go. Okay, and I'm going to wash my brush. Now I'm going to get out some fresh white. I can put it over here. And I'm going to go back in up here on my daisies. And I'm going to give some, not all, but some of the daisies a little bit of fresh white over their petals. So some of the petals are going to stay being like that creamy yellow color, and some are getting nice bright white on them. Okay, then I'm going to come down here and I'm going to add a couple of little ones to the ground. Okay. Now with the white on my round brush, I'm going to go into my pink. I'm mixing up even a lighter pink. This is that wild berry with white. And I'm coming in and I'm doing these little comma strokes now in our flowers. This is making a layered effect from our petals. I work my way to the inside. We have all kinds of values going on here with our pink and our white and our light. I'm going to wash my brush. Okay. I'm going to, at the back of my brush, I'm going to go back into my marigold. And I want to fix all my centers now. Originally, my dots were just a little bit abstract, and they were there just as placeholders. But now I want my centers of my daisies to really pop. So I'm going back in, making them nice and round. I'm using the back of my brush because it's easier to control the back of the brush to make these little circles than it is to control the paintbrush part. And I'm putting in all my centers, including the down here ones that I added. Okay. And then this one needs a stem. And again, I'm going to give it a few leaves. Okay. And I'm going to wash my brush. Now I'm going back to my liner. I'm going to come to my white and I'm going to tap in centers on my little 5-petal flowers down here. Just little dotty clusters. Okay. And I'm also going to add a little bit of highlight to my daisy centers up top. Not too many. And these. Okay. I'm going to go back into my nice fresh white. And I'm going to layer in yet again on these beautiful, I guess they're more like wild roses that we painted in. This time our fresh white is totally sticking out, highlighted, popping, whatever you want to call it. Work my way in towards the center. And then without washing my brush, I'm going to go right into the marigold. And these are going to get marigold centers. Using my liner brush, and I'm just dabbing in here to the centers of our flowers. Okay, I'm gonna wipe that off. And I even want for these, and not too many, But for these, I'm just gonna add a couple of little blacks. Not too many, we want more of the gold, but just a little tiny black spots in the centers of these flowers. Okay? And I'm gonna wash my brush and go back to my medium round. Okay, I'm gonna go into the dark green. I'm gonna pick up some light green. And now I'm gonna add in some leaves. Dark green, light green, leaves. So, dark green, light green. I put a lot of pressure on my brush. I turn it, and then I pull up to a point. And I'm just filling in leaves where I think that they should go all around my basket. If I have a flower I don't like, that's the perfect place to put a leaf. Some of them are coming off to the side. Some of them coming down to the side. Some of them are in the background. I'm applying a little bit more pressure. I'm turning my brush and I'm pulling up to a point. I'm always putting both the colors on my brush at the same time, both greens. And then I'm going to do the same thing for over here. Both greens, except these I'm going to make a little bit bigger. I'm always twirling up to a point, dark green, light green, pressure, and out to a point. Pressure, and out to a point. Put some up in here. Okay. I think we'll even bring some over here and get that little spot covered up in there. Okay, I'm going to wash my brush. Clean it off. And then I'm just going to come in here and I'm going to start adding in a little bit of highlight. I'm almost using a dry brush. I wiped my brush. I'm putting a little bit of highlight on some of these edges here. A little too much there, so I'm going to go back into my brown and darken this up just a little bit. See, acrylic paint can fix anything. White, wipe it off. There we go. And there we have it. We just have our clay pots. We're going to plant for the spring. We did some daisies in our basket. We have some of these, I don't know, wild roses over here. And then we did our 5-petal flowers in the bottom, covering up. And there we go. Thank you, everyone. I will see you next time. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you will be notified next time I upload a video. Thank you.